Listen carefully. The camera hides secrets. It remembers fleeting smiles, laughter that faded into silence, and steps you pretended not to follow. Is the secret the yellow suit and mask? Or is it? Let's delve into the details of the film to see what it has in common with the gesture. The movie starts in a room that looks like a torture chamber, and there is a camera pointed at a tied person, and his face is covered in blood. Then the lights are turned on, and a masked man comes and says to this person whose name is Jake, "By the way, you won, Jake." Jake replies, "Since I won, then of course, you will keep your promise and let me go home." But the unknown man tells him that there is still one last round. 3 boxes appear in front of him, and he is asked to choose one of them and pull the rope that ties it to see what is inside. Jake pulls the rope to complete the challenge and goes home. But the shock is that when he pulls the rope, he finds a gun inside the box pointed at him. He is terrified and starts screaming, asking this person to set him free as he promised. The man tells him that many people break their promises, and he presses a device in his hand, and a bullet comes out of the gun, heading towards Jake, killing him. Let's move on to the 4 friends, James, Math, Melissa, and Anita, who arrive at James's father's villa for the weekend. James is the richest one, and they are having a fun time. At night, they spend their evening together. Suddenly, they hear something outside in the garden. James goes out to see what is going on. His friends keep looking at him from behind the door because they are scared. He also seems to be scared because when his friends turn off the lights, he asks them to turn them back on, but they refuse. Suddenly, Melissa appears behind him to scare him and continues to make fun of him for being scared. At that moment, James sees something in front of him among the trees. He goes towards it and turns on his phone's flashlight to discover that it is a camera. He takes it and goes back home. Everyone wonders how this camera was there all along, what its purpose is, and why they are being filmed. Many questions come to their minds, making them afraid. Therefore, they decide to take out the tape inside the camera and watch it to see what camera has captured. They find that the tape is damaged. After a while, Math collects the trash they left behind after eating and drinking and puts it in a bag to throw outside the house. He doesn't notice the person standing behind him. However, he hears a strange sound, so he goes towards the door but doesn't find anyone. He throws the trash away, closes the door, and goes back home. The shock when he went to wake up Melissa and Anita, he found them refusing to wake up as if they had fainted. He became worried, and when he went to tell James, an unknown person suddenly appeared from behind him and injected him with a drug in his neck. It turned out that he was the person who had drugged the 2 girls a while ago. Math came down the stairs and kept screaming and calling for James, but he didn't find him inside the house. Suddenly, the drug started to take effect in his body, and he lost consciousness in the garden. After everything that had happened, Anita woke up to find herself and her friends on the floor, chained around their necks and hands inside a large, strange room with red lights. Suddenly, the masked person we saw at the beginning of the movie entered and placed a camera in front of them. He left them and went out to sit in a room with surveillance screens. He started getting ready as if he were going to host a TV show like any famous presenter. The 4 friends try to free themselves from the chains, but of course, they fail. Then the masked person entered and pressed a remote control button, and the chains pulled them out and pinned them to the wall. Then he says the famous line in all the shows, 1, 2, 3, and action. It seems as if he is really on a filming location. Suddenly, the lights turn on, and he tells them that he is the one who hosted them today. Suddenly, the lights turn on behind him as well. This person seems to be mentally unstable because he talks to the statues behind him as if they were his audience. He tells them that he is going to start his segment now, and he starts introducing the statues. He tells them that they are on a game show. This show consists of rounds, one after the other. He started explaining to them the first round, which was rock, paper, scissors. But as he spoke, he realized that he forgot to do something. So he spoke to the audience behind him and told them that he would take a commercial break and be back. Literally, this guy is crazy. Anyway, When he left the room, James and his friends couldn't understand what had happened. They kept asking themselves, is this a prank show? Did someone prank them? At that moment, James thought that his friends had pranked him. This is because he always pranks them, but his friends told him they were all drugged, and we came to this place with you, chained like you. At that moment, the crazy announcer came back to them and started his show and told them that the first round of the competition was rock, paper, scissors. Of course, James and his friends had no choice but to listen to him and play the game. The crazy announcer started playing the game, and Anita was the winner. He decided to punish the losers and approached Melissa and hit her in the face with a sharp object. He then hit Math on the head with a rock. In the end, he cut off one of James's fingers. Anita screamed at the sight. She saw and was even more terrified when she found the crazy announcer pointing a gun at her. She continued screaming and trembling, but he didn't kill her because it was a toy gun. He then pressed the device in his hand to pull her forcefully against the wall, hitting her head and causing her to faint. A few hours later, Anita woke up to find James looking tense and asking them why they were in this place. Anita told him that they didn't know why, but what they needed to know was a way out because this place was terrifying and they could literally die at any moment. James angrily told her that it was easy for her, of course, to say such things. He didn't cut off her finger like him, but Math told him to calm down because fighting was the last thing they could do. Then the crazy announcer came and unveiled a wheel called the Wheel of Pain. This was the second round of the competition, but he surprised them and told them that before this game, he would give 3 of them a chance to get out of the place, but only if they confessed to the worst thing they had ever done. He decides to start with James, but James says bad things to him, so he hits him with the iron rod he has, a very strong blow that makes him scream in pain. He forces him to confess to the worst thing he has ever done in his life. James confesses that he ran over a girl named Ashley with his car and left her to die, and that his father used his power and influence to evade the case. The anchor then goes to Anita and asks her about the worst thing she has ever done in her life. When she refuses, he tries to strangle her. Anita confesses that she took her mother's surgery money and used it in the stock market and lost everything. The anchor then leaves her and goes to Math and says, "It's your turn." Without pressuring him, Math admits that he scams people online. Eventually, the crazy anchor approaches Melissa and threatens to beat her if she doesn't confess. She then tells him that she made business deals with criminals in the black market to make money, but her goal was noble, spending it on pets. The problem is that the anchor then tells them that one of them is lying and not telling the truth, and Math tells him no problem. Let the other 3 go as promised, but the announcer said, "No, not now. Wait a minute. They have to play the Wheel of Pain." He chose Melissa to be the first. He pressed his controller, freeing the chain a little so it could reach the wheel. He told her that all she had to do was spin the wheel with all her might. Whatever stopped, she would do it. Melissa spun the wheel until it stopped on a drawing she didn't understand at all. She asked him what the drawing meant. He gave her a device that looked like a camera, but a little bigger. He asked her to look inside. She had to tell him the names of the 3 cities in front of her on the map. When Melissa looked inside, she saw the Eiffel Tower and said that city had to be Paris. Then she saw a picture of the Statue of Liberty and said, "This is New York City." The 3rd city was not clear, so she did not recognize it. So he told her that she lost and must be punished. Here, her friends asked him to give her a second chance. He agreed, but she should not trust him. He asked her to look at the device again, and here a sharp instrument comes out of the device and pierces her eyes. Here, Melissa falls to the ground from the severity of the pain, and here the crazy broadcaster starts laughing in a strange way. James screams and calls him stupid and mentally ill. He tells him, "Okay, let's see what happens." He goes and spins the wheel for Anita, who is. The game comes to a sudden halt in a manner that no one understands. The announcer brings a drill and gives it to Anita. He asks her to pierce Math's ear, or he will kill all her friends, one by one, in front of her. He gives her 20 seconds to do so. She refuses and keeps screaming, but at the last moment, she approaches Matt and pierces his ear. She collapses and drops the drill. The announcer becomes very angry and tells her that, by doing this, she has broken the rules of the game. He then takes a videotape from the camera and leaves them, furious. After a while, he comes back and pins a sharp object above them. He stands over Melissa and pins it right above her head and asks her friends if any of them can take her place and make his brain explode instead of hers. When Matt asks, he refuses. When Anita asks, she apologizes to her friend Melissa, but she refuses. As for James, he is selfish and refuses before the anchor can finish his question. The anchor apologizes to Melissa, telling her that her friends abandoned her and asking her to say goodbye to the audience. She breaks down and continues begging him not to kill her, but he brings this sharp instrument down on her head, literally splitting her in half. This happens amidst the astonishment of her friends, who are seized by a state of horror and continue to scream over the death of their friend. This madman drags Melissa's body from the place and leaves, but when he returns to his office, he does something very strange. He grabs a sharp instrument and hurts his face as if he is punishing himself because of the victim who died, or he does this with every victim. I don't know, to be honest. He returns to his friends and shows them a video of a woman tied to a chair while he tortures her. After that, he grabs a saw and literally tears her body apart. The strange thing is that he approaches Anita without saying a word of apology, so he leaves her and silently returns to his office. James is shocked and asks her if she knows this man. She tells him that she does. We go back in time and see that this old man, when he was young, was the host of a famous entertainment show called Barry. At that time, Anita and two of her colleagues were part of the show's team. Incidentally, her friends are Jake, whom we saw at the beginning of the movie, and Rebecca, whom Barry tore apart with a saw, as seen in the videotape. In other words, Anita, Jake, and Rebecca know from the news that a broadcaster was involved in a major harassment case but got away with it. Rebecca tells Anita that rumors say Barry is the real harasser. She suggests that they testify against him and take the reward the government has offered to anyone who proves Barry's accusation. At that moment, Barry arrives and turns out to be a very likable person who treats everyone around him very well, so much so that he surprises Anita with a cake to celebrate her birthday in front of all her colleagues. Anita is happy and thanks him, but Rebecca treats Barry very badly, especially when he lays his hand on Anita to wish her a happy birthday. Barry apologizes and tells her that he didn't mean anything wrong, that she's like his daughter. But Rebecca has a sinister plan and takes advantage of the fact that Barry doesn't know that he's the one who will be proven guilty. She sits with Anita and convinces her that they will report Barry and get the reward. Unfortunately, Anita agrees because she needs the money for the operation for her mother. She goes and testifies against Barry, reporting that he molested her. Afterward, Barry is imprisoned, losing his job and his family. In other words, he loses his whole life. With this, we know Jake, Rebecca, and Anita's secret. All that's left is to find out Matt, James, and Melissa's secret. To find out, we return to the present and see Barry entering the room where Anita and her friends are, carrying a bag. At that moment, James tells him that Anita told him what happened, that he supports him, and that he has the right to take revenge on her, but that they are not guilty. He tells him that if he lets him go, his father will give him a lot of money. Additionally, he will publish a denial of what happened in the press, restoring his honor and reputation. But Barry wonders if his father can bring back his show, his audience, his wife, and his dead son. James answers, "Of course not." Barry tells him, "Then let's continue our game." He goes and takes out the head of the detective that Anita testified in front of from the bag and asks Anita and forces her to eat his tongue and swallow it. Here, James takes advantage of Barry's focus on forcing Anita. He attacks him and hits him hard, knocking him to the ground. But before he can get close to him and kill him, He takes out a device from his pocket and electrifies the chains they are tied with. They are all electrocuted and fall to the ground and lose consciousness. When they wake up, we see that James and Math are each chained to the bed, and each of them has a wound below their stomach. Here, he tells them that this is his favorite game. He throws the knife to Anita, who is still lying on the floor. Then he goes out of the room and talks to her through the microphone, telling her that if she wants to escape from this place, he has 2 keys, one inside James's stomach and the other inside Math's stomach. He asks her to choose. Will she take out the key from whose stomach? Anita grabs the knife and stands in front of James and Matt, who are collapsing and continuing to scream. James offers her a deal that she won't kill him, and in return, he will give her a lot of money because he knows Anita will get rid of him because she loves Math. James keeps tempting Anita with money and will even let her perform her mother's surgery, but Anita refuses. She approaches James to cut open his stomach and takes the key from her. James keeps screaming at the top of his lungs for her to leave him. Barry watches this with amusement. Anita cuts open James's stomach, puts her hands inside, and takes out the key. Of course, James dies instantly. The disaster is that Anita finds the key doesn't open the door, so Barry tells her that he tricked her and frees Math from the chains and tells them only one person can leave this room alive. At that moment, Matt grabs the knife and kills himself so that his girlfriend can escape and move on with her life. Anita collapses over what just happened, but Barry fills the room with sleeping gas and puts her to sleep. After a while, Anita wakes up and sits in the same room where Jake was sitting in the beginning. Remember him? No. There are 3 boxes in front of her. Barry asks her to pull the string and open one of them, but Anita is scared and doesn't trust him. She tells him that she might tell everyone, all the news outlets and all the media, that she lied when she testified against him and that he is an innocent person. Barry tells her that it's too late for all of this because he has lost many people he loves. He has lost his audience, his wife and son, but he took revenge on her and made her lose all her friends whom she loves. And with that, we are even. Anita accepts his words and pulls a string and opens one of the boxes in front of her and finds a cake inside. Barry tells her, "You see, I don't lie," and untie her and asks her to eat from the cake and leave. But Anita hurts his face and runs away from him. Barry chases her and electrocutes the collar around her neck, so Anita falls to the floor and can't move. Barry comes, ties her up, and takes her back inside. After that, we see Anita sitting tied up in front of the cake. He tells her that there is a device inside the cake, and that if she comes near it, it will destroy her brain completely. Suddenly, he grabs her face and puts it in the cake. Anita is terrified, but is surprised to find that there is no device or anything, and she realizes that Barry was lying to her. Here, Barry unties her and asks her to go and wash her face as he has forgiven her and will let her leave. But he tells her that there is 2 pieces of news, one good and one bad. The good news is that she is finally free, and the bad news is that the substance in the cake is corrosive. Anita screams in pain. This substance completely eats away the skin of her face, and not only that, but it also causes her to lose her sight in moments. She collapses and leaves the place, unable to believe that she has lost her sight until she falls to the ground and dies. Barry sits beside her, happy that he has taken revenge on everyone who ruined their lives. He has one person left, and that is the famous journalist who committed the crime. We learn that Barry started with him first, kidnapped him, and made him confess to his crime in front of the camera. After that, he hit him on the head with a big hammer, and that's it. The question here is, why is he filming all this? Honestly, I don't know. This is where the movie ends. After completing this summary, you can tell me in the comments what this movie resembles, The Jester. Don't forget to subscribe and like